Welcome to Fava Conversation. Join the conversation.
Wonderful Sunday afternoon, and we're here, and God is here, and we have something wonderful in store for you. And I hope everyone's here to join in the conversation wherever you are. Today we have someone very special here. We actually planned to have him during the Fava Festival, but our times got construed because we were all over the place. But we have him here today, and he's Mr. Justin D'Angelo, and he's from Printera. But the Printera is the name of the company. It's a 3D printing company. And let me just read a little bio on here for you before we bring him in. And Justin D'Angelo is the founder and CEO of Printera, a concrete additive manufacturing company in South Florida, specializing in precision concrete 3D printing of architectural and landscape features. Justin founded Printera in 2021, and it has been his full-time focus since. Before Printera, Justin was an agile project manager overseeing projects for Royal Caribbean, HSBC, United Technologies, and more. He obtained his bachelor's in business management from Bentley University and lived abroad in Singapore, France, and Australia throughout his lower and upper education. He's a husband and father of two and enjoys traveling and home renovation projects. And we want to welcome Mr. Justin Angelo today to our program. Mr. Justin, I hope you're there. There we go.
Absolutely. I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we finally get to have you here today. And so what we're going to do, because I actually found him because, we're in our investment space, we were into real estate investing, and I was looking at different ways of getting projects and homes built and all this stuff. And I saw the 3D printing construction. And I was like, well, wait a minute, what is this? And so I got into the information. Then I found him on YouTube. So I said, well, let's see if we can have him here to just explain something. He is not too much in the home construction. I think it's more in the architectural features of homes and what you can put in homes. So he's going to explain that to us. And Mr. Justin, take the stage.
You got it. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And apologies to any of your listeners that were at the expo where I got the timing confused. So I'm happy to be here today. And I'm excited. I love telling people about 3D printing because it's a disruptive technology, right? Even in the home scale for small plastic trinkets, which is where I started. And now we've scaled it up and we're making, full architectural and construction-based pieces. So it's a lot of fun. I think it has the real potential to make an impact in the design world, right? In the spaces that we live and use. And it's a great job. We get to do something fun and interesting every day. And I'm excited to tell folks about it. So I can kind of walk through what we do and give like a little background of what the technology and industry is, or how would you like to do it? Do you want to just kind of talk and go through questions?
And if you could even give us some examples and show us some stuff of what you guys do, that would be awesome as well. But yeah, go right ahead.
For sure. So today we're actually we're in the midst of production down in the shop, and we don't have really good Wi-Fi connection down on the production floor. Okay. So I prepared a little screen share. So I don't know what percentage of reviewers are watching versus listening,
right?
But I can show my screen, and I can kind of just talk to the description of what we're talking about.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Perfect. So can you see this?
Well, I'm not seeing anything right now. I'm just seeing you.
All right. It says I'm streaming.
That's just nice. Hold on. Let me see if it's coming through. I'm seeing something here. Is that it? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me see.
No worries.
I usually do this. There we go. Yeah, it's here.
Awesome.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Yeah, so I just figured it would make sense to talk a little bit about the history of printing, the types of printers, because there's things that you see on like 60 Minutes did a special, for example, on concrete 3D printing. And then there's the stuff that we're doing in our shop. And another way of just thinking about the technology and a little bit about our company, the cool products and projects that we've done. So what's interesting is we say it's an emerging technology, but really it's founded in 1998 out of the University of California, where it was first done in a university lab. And then we jump all the way forward to 2014 when this technology started to really make a commercial case for itself in China. And we weren't too far behind in the US. So the following year, a Russian gentleman by the name of Andrei Rudenko printed a kid's playhouse for his daughter in his backyard. It was very, very clever. He built and designed the printer himself, much to the chagrin of his neighbors. And he put the thing together, and it's still standing today. It's a really cool testament. That's the image on the right. And then moving into real commercialization in 2018, the biggest player in the space today is a company by the name of Icon, and they're out of Austin, Texas. They first permitted home, and it's really nice. It embraces the aesthetic of 3D printing, and you'll see a little bit more of that in a bit. And in 2021, we have Florida's first 3D printed project, which is actually done by my co-founder. So I put that on there as kind of a little nod to ourselves. But the industry is kind of progressing, and you're seeing more and more use of the technology. So soon, I think you'll see more and more houses that are 3D printed.
Right.
What I also like to show, just a very, very brief segment of, is a lot of people don't realize that the foundation of the technology came from the 1941 Urschel Wall Building Company. And they have this really great old video. It's kind of in a slapstick comedy fashion, but you can see all the way back in 1941, them extruding layers of concrete one at a time to make a structure.
Right.
At the time, it's a pretty simple. There's no computer control. It's just moving around and around, but the underlying technology is the same. And anyone who's interested, it's a really cool video. I recommend going to YouTube and looking it up. It's really funny. They have like a little thing going on, and at the end, because it's 1941, of course, you can imagine what the final structure was. They're all hanging out, and then all of a sudden they say, "Look, bombs are coming!" And so they all run in there and hide. But it's a neat little thing, as a kind of ode to the technology. And then just talking about where the technology is and where it's come from, and what you might see if you're out in your neighborhood around the country and you start to see 3D printed projects happening near you. Most of the time, it's this picture on the left. It's a large gantry printer that somebody will erect on the construction site, and they print an object directly to the slab of the project, right? You're printing all the walls. Our printers here on the right, it's a retired automotive robot. So we're printing, everything in our facility, where we're controlling the environment, temperature, humidity, et cetera, to get a really good quality.
Really?
And then finally, there's a third, which is a tracked unit. And they basically said, hey, how can we make this big gantry a little bit more portable? And so they built a robot that can move around the construction site and print kind of different segments at a time, one after another. So that's a little bit about the industry. There's a little bit of footage of us printing. I'll skip it because the audio, I don't know how the audio is playing with your thing.
Oh, this is what I saw. I saw this too. Okay.
Yeah, but so this is that first home in Florida that we printed. It's 1,580 square feet. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. Beautiful house. All the walls, interior and exterior, printed. And this was printed in 10 days. So the whole thing went together fairly fast. Obviously, that's just for the walls, right? So they needed to still do the work of the roof and decorating on the inside, right? All the finishes. But getting the structure done very quickly is really the nod to the technology. Moving outside of structures for people, this is my favorite project. Is we did artificial reef, a series of them actually, for the Florida Oceanographic Society. And you'll see that this reef is in the shape of an archway. So when we put the reef in the water, they rectify it, and the arch is actually for the turtles in that lagoon that have propeller strikes, and they're now positively buoyant, so the turtles can go under the reef and hold themselves down and rest underwater. I feel really good about this project because not only was it fun, but 2 hours after the reef was in, the turtles were already using it. So it was an instant success.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, it was really cool. Really feel good project. This is showing how pieces in the field that we make are used out in the field. So these are columns, structural columns around a project in Wellington, Florida. It's actually the world's largest 3D printed structure. And we did all 30 of the support columns that are around the structure. So it's another kind of interesting application. And then this is our biggest project to date, where we actually did a 60-foot long wall with integrated planters and benches that's in New York City in downtown Manhattan.
Very
and
nice.
This is kind of how the finish came together. So you can see some shots along the way and then some shots at the end. They put all the segments together. This was made up of over 160 pieces that were put together on site, and then they smoothed it over with a Venetian plaster called microcrete to make it look like it was one solid unit. So that's that. There's cafes. There's we've even done some skateboarding elements for skateboarders, ramps and grind rails. Lots of things in the home environment, whether it's outdoor kitchens or privacy screens, large planters. Ultimately, the beauty of 3D printing is if you can imagine it, it can pretty much be done. So
that's good.
that's I think that's kind of like a good overview of where the technology is, and yeah.
Well, that's good. So like right now, if someone wanted to get in touch with you guys as to create something, what would they do? Like, what was the process they need to go through?
Sure. So the majority of our customers are in kind of the commercial spaces field, right? So like that project in New York City or the cafes, for example, they could reach out on our website or get in touch with me and either my email or phone number, which I'll give you at the end. Okay. But if you go to Printera 3D and submit an inquiry, then that starts the process, and we're very collaborative. So we can take anything from, if you have a bar napkin sketch, to some folks approach us with full models, and we fully support the design. So we'll look at it, we'll review, and kind of work together on making whatever you can imagine from a design standpoint into a physical thing. So
what's like the price range for like anything they do with you?
So it depends on the scale of what you're creating, but what we like to say is that if you are looking for something like a planter, right? If you're shopping us against a commercial grade concrete planter, we're cheaper, right? More affordable. Okay. If you're shopping us against Home Depot or Lowe's, we're not quite there, right? Like that's the consumer grade off the shelf stuff is going to beat us most of the time. But when you're into the commercial space, the robust, heavy things, we're more times than not the more affordable option.
Very good. So is it like, I know you just said that you can think it up and you can do it. What is there a limit as to what you can and cannot do as far as? Well, first of all, do you build homes? That's another part. Do you all do the homes, or is it something that you don't?
So at the beginning of the year, we made a strategic decision to move away from homes. Okay. I strongly still believe in the technology, and I think it's going to be the way that the homes are done. 5 years from now, you'll see many more 3D printed homes. The reality of today is that it's just not cost competitive yet, because the concrete that's used in 3D printing is a very special blend. There's no large aggregates. It's very pure Portland cement. It's very expensive. Okay. So even with the savings of the robot doing all the labor, it ends up costing a little more than traditional block.
Really?
But as the industry matures and there's more and more demand, and there's maybe specialized concrete facilities making that material, as opposed to disrupting the other, the legacy guys, the prices will come down quite a bit. So that's a roundabout way of answering your question. We will absolutely print a structure, but it has to be economically feasible for the type of structure. So if you wanted something unique, like a circular structure, or even if you just wanted to do a unique wall in a structure that's done traditionally, we can absolutely do that and be more cost competitive. But if you're used to just traditional, square walls, straight wall home, we're not going to be cost competitive. So we're happy to help, but it's just to arrive at the best price advantage, it's in that custom stuff.
So let's say I guess I'm trying to get to something, because I know people are going to be like, well, how much would this cost to do? Like, what's the least I guess they can expect to pay for like anything they do with you guys, whether it's a planter or a wall or something?
For sure. So I mean, we do mini planters, right? That are like, something that you'd have, on your front patio, for example.
Right.
Those prices range anywhere from just $100 up to, $500 or $600 for the really big things. We do the stuff that you see outside of clubhouses and golf courses that are taller than you and I. Those cost a couple $1,000. Okay. We do a lot of benching for public spaces. So, all different styles, right? And those range anywhere from, I think the lowest is like $500 or $600 to, big intricate benches that can be a few thousand. That's the majority of the kind of things that we're doing. Fountains, accent walls, outdoor kitchens. A regular outdoor kitchen like the one in my image was probably $4,500 to $5,000.
That's not bad.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's all the range, right? It all just depends on how
Right.
big the item is that you want to print.
Okay. And then what locations? Are you all over the United States, or do you go out of the country, or what?
So for small things like planters and things, like if we're providing any delivery ourselves, we're servicing South Florida, but we ship the vast majority of our stuff around the country. So if you're looking for something simple like planters, it typically makes sense in a quantity of 4 or more, because that's a pallet, and then we'll ship it. We've shipped up to Seattle, we've shipped up to Pennsylvania, we've shipped across to Texas. So yeah, we'll service pretty much anywhere. And then in the larger scheme, if you have a big commercial project and you want to look at leveraging 3D printing, we work with the general contractor, right? So we're just a material supplier ultimately.
And then I guess I heard you say where you can assemble on site, so you can send them in pieces, and then when they get there, they can be assembled.
Exactly. So the project we have going on right now, which is kind of our big one for the year, is we're actually making agility training course for military dogs. So it's going up to Georgia. It's 16 pieces, including hurdles that the dogs can jump over, tunnels for the dogs to run through, and the A-frame where they climb up and go down the other side. And all of those elements are done in segments. So they'll all fit on pallets, and then the pallets will go out on 2 full truck beds, and they'll get assembled by the general contractor on site there. And in that scenario, the military said that they were looking for concrete dog obstacles, but they didn't specify 3D printing. But what they realized was the savings of doing it 3D printed. Because in the world of concrete dog obstacles, all of those things have to be custom made anyway. There isn't a company that that pre-manufactures that type of thing. So they're saving by using 3D printing, because we don't have to create molds, right? We don't have to pour forms. There's no waste in our design, right? Through additive constructions, you're using only exactly what needs to be used to make an object. So that the military saved some money, and we got it to them very quickly. So
very good. See, that's what I think a lot of people are looking for now: the cost, the savings, and the time. I think that's what taught me. Like, it's so much, the time gets consolidated so much that you can't beat that, to me.
The timing is another huge element, right? Especially coming out of COVID, when production chains are disrupted, and there's still some that are crazy, right? So if you're looking at just a planter as an example, if you want a big one to go in front of a pool or a clubhouse, right? Those often come from Vietnam. And on our production schedule, we can make one of those 6-foot tall planters in about 2 hours. And then it just needs to cure for a few days, and it can be on a truck and delivered to the site within the same week. So it happens very quickly, as opposed to waiting to import and dealing with tariffs and all the things like that, right? So we also have the Made in America story. So
the tariffs are serious now. And then now I have this question: how is this? Because that's how I got really into you guys. Because I'm like looking into, when you talk about real estate investing, you want to think about homes, but you don't want to spend too much, and the time and all that. So I'm like, that's a good solution. How is that? Well, I know it is, but how to you is a 3D printing changing the real estate industry? Because I'm thinking it is. So how is it happening, and what are you noticing?
So in the traditional construction world, right, of printing a full structure, I obviously am very, very close to the whole industry, even though we're not printing houses anymore. I can tell you that the big advantage that this is bringing to the real estate market, or just the housing market in general, is the resilience of the structure, right? So obviously in our environment in Florida, right, we're concerned with hurricanes, but equally concerning if you go out to California, you've got wildfires, right? And as we tragically saw earlier this year, there's also floods, right? In the Appalachia kind of area. And the 3D printed structure just is very strong. Even if you did the same exact proportions of a traditional block structure, the 3D printed concrete is around 3 times the strength, just in the nature of the material. So a concrete block comes in around 2,000 PSI, and the floor of a 3D printed object is 6,000, and it can go all the way up to 10. So it's strong. And then there's using Appalachia as an example, there was a company out there that they pioneered the concept of a house called the Flood Buster, where they took the edges, right, the corners of the structure where it would take the most load, and they not only rounded them, but they increased the width as you move closer to the corner, so that it's really, really sound, that first floor. And then the second floor, they'll build out of traditional materials like your stick frame construction. But the great thing with that is even though the cost of the home the first time around in today's world is a little more expensive than traditional methods,
Right.
the fact that it's going to outlast the traditional construction, right? You lose all your cost savings the traditional way when you have to rebuild the house.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's a big thing. As far as the market trends and everything as well, there's a little bit of a public acceptance of the technology that's coming along, and I found that that's happening much more over the last couple of years. You can see my virtual background is the print lines,
right?
And you can do interesting things with them. Like
I
here's
see that. Okay.
it's a wicker weave pattern, right? So you could implement that into your house and have a unique texture on your wall. And now you can say, okay, we can do that, and we'll cut out having to put drywall on or cut out the stucco.
Right.
So you're saving costs from another process, bringing the overall costs down. And it's a more simplified thing too, because if your structure is made this way and it does take on flooding, right, and the water recedes, then it's clean the walls as opposed to tear out drywall. So
yeah,
there's some advantages, and I think the market's becoming more and more accepting of the aesthetic, and the technology is getting better, so the aesthetic is looking better too.
Exactly. And I even saw with this one company that made, I'm not sure if y'all did that, but they made it, and it's like they're using it for low income houses where they're building it, and then the homeless shelters or whatever, they're able to stay in there, and it's like a cost effective way of building that for them. And I thought that was really neat.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of areas where even in California right now with the fires, I mean, you're going to need to replace a lot of those homes, and you need something that's stronger that can't get burned down again. Because I'm from the Caribbean, so I know a lot of concrete houses and the hurricanes and everything. Yep. So I was always enamored with concrete houses because I know how long lasting they are, and the wood will burn down or flood or whatever. And so when I saw this, I was like, well, that's a wonderful solution for our homes and here in this country, and based on what's going on with the floods and the fires and hurricanes and all kinds of stuff. So that's really, really good. I think I'm not sure if everybody else is for it, but I'm for it. So hey.
Yeah. And to put it like in a little different perspective, well, actually, first to give credit to that company that you're talking about that made houses for the homeless. Icon, that company I mentioned earlier out of Texas, they did that in partnership with a charitable organization called Loaves and Fishes, or Loaves and Fishes. It's a great Christian organization, and they're elevating housing for homeless, and they've done a great job with 3D printing them. Switching the perspective into the real world ROI standpoint of somebody who may be a landlord or looking to create, a low income housing where they're concerned about the resiliency of the structure. You can do a beautiful concrete wall like this on the inside of a 3D printed home, and you're going to save from not having the damage that traditionally comes through with having tenants, right? Holes in the wall, like picture hanging, all the things that are just small, very small regular maintenance inconveniences when you're going through tenants. This is also something that is resilient and probably good for that type of housing.
That's good. Now, one more, just a couple more questions. But one question: there's another company that does it. I've been looking at on YouTube, but I think they're in Italy, but they don't use concrete. They use like dirt, I think is what it is.
Yes.
Now, is that something that any one of you guys can use, or is it just their specialty? That's the only people.
So that's predicated more by what the building code requirement is in the markets that they're in. So if you go out to Nevada, for example, those houses are called earthship houses. That's the term. If you want to Google it, it's called earthship. And it's a combination of mud that has a high component of clay in it. So that way, when they pack it down, it lasts a long time. The clay kind of bonds itself together. Nevada actually embraces that as a building technology, right? Whereas if we come to Florida, code doesn't really look at it, and they say, yeah, you can't, by code, you can't build a house out of this. Okay. The technology is totally capable, right? The concrete pump and everything, it's all the same underlying technology of taking a liquidy kind of mud-like material and putting it into a structure, right? So anybody could buy one of these printers and theoretically print an earthship house. It's just a matter of whether or not your municipality or state allows it as a a structured or permitted structure.
Okay. What else? And then, so because what I was looking at was, I think they said it's a lot more cost effective than the concrete. So I
For
guess
sure.
that'd be good for Nevada and places like that.
For
Oh,
sure, because you can pull the material right from your own property, right? You don't
right.
have to bring.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they were
Yeah.
saying. Is, ooh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's based on where you are, the location, and what they allow, I guess.
Yeah.
Based on code. Okay. Okay. So I guess now, unless there's something else you want to share, I guess we're looking at how can people contact your company? Because I'm thinking you all are going to get a lot of contact information, because based on what's going on in the news right now with the economy, with the housing, people are looking for alternatives that don't cost as much, don't take as long.
Yep.
And especially if you're in the investment space, like you're saying, you want a return on your investment, and sometimes you want that quick. So
Yep.
I think that's a good, and it's going to be, I think, in the future, something really good, even for building your own personal homes, because something that could take, I think I saw one being built for like 2 weeks. They took 2 to 3 weeks to build an entire home.
Yep.
Now, that is a game changer right there. So
Yeah.
how can people get in touch with your company and whatever they want to do, whether it's, well, they can't do the homes right now, but even the other projects that you do are really, really game changers. How can they get in touch with your company?
For sure. So for getting in touch and to kind of check out the work that we've done, I highly recommend checking out our website. So it's printera3d.com.
Okay.
Yep. Printera 3d.com.
Okay.
And then we're also on all the social platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I never thought I would have a TikTok, but here I am. I have a TikTok account.
Me neither. And I'm on the TikTok. I was like, what is this thing? And then all of a sudden I'm here. So I guess you need to do what you got to do for your business. So hey.
Exactly. So we're on all those.
Yeah.
And I love talking about the technology. You know, if anyone has general questions, even if you're not looking at it saying, hey, I have a project in mind today, reach out. I'm happy to talk to people, kind of show them what we're doing. I also have a standing open shop policy. So if anybody's in Florida in our market and they want to come see it in person, I warmly welcome anybody listening to reach out and schedule some time to come see our facility.
Where are you in Florida? What is it, city? What city in Florida?
So we're located in Stewart, so that's north of West Palm Beach.
Oh, okay, I know where that is. So but if they go to the website, they'll get that information as well.
Exactly. Yep. The contact us page has our address. It has everything. If you Google us, right, all that'll come right up.
Oh my goodness.
And just to throw some other just random ideas out there for people to think about, you know, we've had some really interesting inquiries come through. You know, the beauty of 3D printing is so many things that you can do, right? That it's your imagination that's your limiting factor. So more often than not, people are coming to us with ideas that we never even thought about. So you know, the dog agility course is a great example, but we're also doing pavers, fire pits. So, some gentleman wanted a safe room bunker because he was, there's a whole thing about safe rooms and things for houses now, right? And you can do a really thick concrete wall.
Right.
There's all kinds of stuff. Lots of aquatic elements, reefs, seawalls, you name it. There's a lot of fun things we can do.
Now, do you do stuff? Because I know, do you do stuff out of the country, or is it just within the United States?
Predominantly, it's in the United States. We shipped one international, but it was just, it was on a pallet basis, right? So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you have international listeners, the other thing is I'm extremely well connected into the industry internationally as well. So I can also help you get in touch with whoever's closest to your market. The industry is beautiful. There's a lot of, we're very collaborative, and it's a very much, a new emerging industry. So a rising tide lifts all ships. And I want to see everyone all over the world be successful with this. So.
Yes. I'm thinking you're going to get a lot of calls, because a lot of people I know are from the Caribbean. So, and all we deal with over there basically is concrete. So you may get some national calls as well.
For sure. Yeah.
So much, Mr. Justin. I mean, all this to finally get the interview. So it was worth it. And I thank you so much for being with us, and our audience thanks you. And I hope you all keep on doing great things. And you may hear from me as well, because I always have these ideas and I can't find anybody to do it. And you all may be the ones I call to get it done. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
And have an awesome day.
You have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, everyone. That was Mr. Justin D'Angelo with Printera. And I hope that you all were able to gather a lot of information, because we're in the investment space and we're telling you guys to get the land and get this and get that. So I thought it would be good to have someone who could let you know how to actually put something on that land and put a building on that land, or put just something that you could use because he's talking about every kind of stuff, like whatever you think of, they could create it for you. And I've seen the 3D printers being used for like basic stuff, like to create things in your office, like even uh, desks or even shelving or weird, all kinds of stuff they use the 3D printer to do. But I've never heard about the houses. When I heard about it, I'm like, ooh, that may be something I use for some of our projects with the lands that we purchased. You could do resorts, you could do just items where people can come in and rent the space and have things on there. I mean, there's just so many things you could do. And if you just go to these companies, you just give them your ideas and they work it out for you and they can ship it to you. So I thought that would be an awesome thing. I was hoping we could have done it in the Fava Festival, but hey, all things work together for the good to them who love God and are called according to his purpose. So it worked perfectly for today. So I hope you go to their website, printer3d.com. I went on there myself, got information on there, and you could book a consultation with them and get whatever you need done. Put your ideas on. And for my people out there in the Caribbean or internationally, because remember we were just international the other day, you can call them in as well, and they can have your projects ready for you and do this. And they're young guys, so I mean, hey, the sky's the limit, and you can see the names of the people in the company and everything, and work it out with them. People in Florida, right there, they're there for you. So I just think that's good. And he even mentioned, although they're not doing the homes anymore, they know companies who are. Like Icon is one I think I saw on YouTube, and you could go to YouTube and Google them. There's so many of them now. The one I was talking about out of the country who does the clay is Wasp, and they're actually in Italy. And they just take the dirt from the ground and they form the whole clay thing that they need to form, and they build the homes, and they're amazing. I even saw where Dior had some I think it's an expo or something they had, and they built one of the, it's like the circular thing. That's what got me to the circular buildings. So gorgeous. The circular little build, like a little shop, like a pop-up shop for them. And they built it right there. And I mean, if you go on YouTube, you'll see it. Amazing. I was like, that's what got me. I'm like, now we need stuff done. And I don't have 3 years to wait for a thing to be built. I want it to be built like now. And the price and it's cost effective, but it's again, the bigger projects may cost a little bit more, but the smaller projects may be more feasible for you in whatever space you're in. So check them out. Check out YouTube. Check out the 3D printing world. I think it's Icon is another one. Azure, I think, is another one that works with Lennar Homes, and they built a whole bunch of homes in Texas, and they're already on the market for sale and all that good stuff, and they're gorgeous. So when I saw that, I'm like, this is something that's coming, and it's here, but it's going to be up and coming, because in the real estate space, people are looking for options that they can get things done quickly, cost effectively, so they can make their return and make good return. So that's something you would want to know in that space, and construction and all that stuff. So I just thought it would be amazing, and it was amazing. I hope you learned from it. We're not going to do too much more right now. We're just going to stay with that, and we're going to try to bring more people to you, like Mr. Justin, with innovative ideas who can help us not just in the investment space, but in our personal space and different things we're doing right now. So that's one. Finally, we broke through. I was determined. I'm like, God, I have got to get this interview in, because I worked hard to get it. And I was like, I know it's important, especially for the times we live in. And people are looking for cost-effective ways to build homes. If you want to make a smaller home, if you want to build a little shed in your backyard, he said fire pits. I mean, the sky is the limit. And that, whatever, like the 3D printer is literally, if you think it, you can make it. You just think it, draw it, they put it in the computer, then the machines go to work. So here's another option for you in your investment space to help you create the wealth that God created for you. He designed for you before the foundation of the world, and so you can be a blessing to your family and to others. OMG, I am so thankful that you joined us today. Don't forget Fava Reach. Donate to help us do what God wants us to do. Go into our if you scan the QR code right, that's going to take you right to our Fava Market 100 on Shopify, where you can purchase this one of our items right here, the resort belted shirt dress. And it's on there as well. You can see the other items we have. It's the first collection we put forth for our Fava Festival, FF25 collection. And we have about 7 items, I believe, on there. So you can go and purchase, and proceeds go towards, well, all of it that actually goes towards our Fava Reach and helping our human traffic victims, because that's what we're working hard on. We're working, and we're going to get there in Jesus' name. But as we do, and these are things, when we look at these projects, these are things like what we think about when you think about getting people out and freedom. You always think about what are they going to do when they get out. And these are ways you can help give them ideas, help them start businesses, help them get homes and different things. And all these different innovative ideas are ways that you can look at as to how we can create spaces to be a blessing to others. So this is not just something you look at and just say, oh no, you can use this. And I mean, I'm looking at the smaller things. And even your fire pits and all that, even your building of your homes, you can add the columns. Because if you go to YouTube, guys, and look at their stuff, you will see the amazing things they create. Look at that reef they created. It's literally, and it's the things with all the curves that you probably can't build regularly. That 3D printer can print it all. So just go on there, get your innovative juices going, and create what God has called you to create. Because right now, with the AI and this 3D printer and all these things, the sky is almost the limit right now, because God has given us ways and means to stretch the dollar and make $1 out of 15 cents and make some money. So we know you have no excuse, because God is working for you. I hope you enjoyed this today, and we're going to try to have more of these, and continue to enjoy what God is doing in your life. Continue to give. Go to favourofagreatgod.com and see all the new things we put on there, and enjoy what God has for you, because there's nothing too hard for the Lord. He said, just trust me and believe me, and I will do anything what I said I will do in your life, I will do it for you. And just believe his word, stand on his promises, walk by faith and not by sight. Stay faithful to his promises and watch him do great things in your life, just like he's doing for those young guys right here. You just find where God wants to put you and do what he's called you to do. Before we go, since we have some extra time, if there's anyone who wants to know the Lord and you don't know Jesus, and you're like, oh my God, if I knew God, I would be able to enjoy all his promises. Just bow your head with me right now and say, Lord Jesus, forgive me of my sins. I acknowledge that I need you in my life. I acknowledge that without you, I'm nothing. And today I choose to make you the Lord of my life for the rest of my life. In Jesus' name, amen. And just like that, welcome to the family of God. You have been chosen for such a time as this. Go to a Bible-believing church where Jesus is preached, God is preached, and the Holy Ghost is preached. Get a Bible, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, any bookstore, and get the Bible, your YouVersion Bible app right here for free. You can read it, listen to it, you highlight it, devotionals, everything. You got it on there, and you can get into space where you get to know God even more, and then start building a life of prayer. You're talking to God and he's talking back to you, and you're having amazing conversations with God. That's the power conversation, right? That's where you get all these ideas. He will drop them in your heart, and then you're like, I need somebody to make them. And you go get Printera. You go get Azure Icon or any of these companies, and you have them make it for you, because God's good. I am so amazed that he said Las Vegas accepts the clay houses that Wasp does, because I didn't know they did them here. I thought it was just Italy. So that's a good thing to know. So if you're doing like a project, like a real estate investment project, and you got a piece of land over there and you want to build something, you could think about that, because it costs less, because they're actually using the dirt from your ground. Like whatever land you have, you just get the dirt and they use it and they mix it with their thing. And then, so it brings down the cost even less than the concrete. I love concrete, but if you have, you know what I mean? And certain situations, of course. So you have just if you have a project in mind, don't feel like I can't do this, it's too big. The sky is the limit right now. Okay. And just trust God. Make sure you got your things together. Go to whether you got the seller financing, or if you have to get your credit and everything together so you can go to the bank, make sure you have your things together. But do your work and do your due diligence and watch God do great things in your life. We love you guys. Oh my God. I am so happy because I actually got this done. You all didn't know. This was a project. We were trying to get this done, and it was just, but God is good, and we finally got it here. And I pray God's blessings on you, and you're going to do big things for God, because he's done big things for you. Until we see you next time, remember to have what? Father conversations. Bye-bye. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have to find my music. Hold on. Bye, guys.